My, here we go again. It's Friday. Okay, can we go home now? The weekend is upon us.
Yep.
It's here.
Can we pack the car for a trip to the beach?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going
Okay,
to
well, let's go.
Carteret County.
Why?
Big Rock starts tomorrow.
Well, that's
not the beach.
but they're not fishing. They're just partying.
The girls go out tomorrow.
I think they go out Sunday, don't they?
They go out. I thought they went Saturday, Sunday.
I don't know. We'll
I
find
don't
out.
know. I'll have to find out. Maybe it's just Sunday.
Good Friday morning to y'all and TGIFF.
I'm scared.
Thank goodness it's finally Friday. Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barrows.
Your mind is in the gutter, Lee, as usual.
I had my F's backwards.
Was
Friday finally.
Okay.
The year finally.
It's the same way. You know, sometimes in French they put things backwards too. Quite often. Now let's do a little bit of history while we're here today.
let's
Maybe
do
we
it.
can educate y'all. We talked about it a little bit. I talked about it a little bit the other day. The 5th of June, that was yesterday,
Right.
in 1944 was scheduled to be a big day, and the day earlier, on the 4th, back in 1944, the weather over England was bright and sunny. A picture-perfect day. Everything was a go for the June 5th D-Day invasion of multiple locations along the French coastline, occupied and defended by large numbers of Nazis. Despite the beautiful day, a British military meteorologist, he was the chief meteorologist for this whole operation, predicted the 5th would be socked in. Dangerous for a sneak attack that we and the military units from 12 allied countries had planned. He strongly suggested a postponement for 24 hours. Military leaders put the invasion off for a day until today's date, the 6th of June, when 150,000 troops conducted a multinational, multiple front invasion by sea and air, catching the German defenders by almost complete surprise. It was a costly mission with more than 4,000 Allied fighters dying. The operation led to the surrender of Germany. If they had tried the landings the day before, the outcome would likely have been a disaster. Weather is important and is one of the most talked about topics every day around the world in most places. First thing you hear about every morning, the weather forecast. Everybody tunes in for it. They get up. During the wintertime, you get up and look outside, see if there's any snow on the ground, especially if you're a little kid going to school, just in case. So, weather is important. Obviously, we all know it,
Yes.
and we all cater to it. We don't have any choice because whatever the weather is, it's going to be the weather, whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. Absolutely right. I caught that.
And Lee, the wannabe meteorologist, she always said she wanted to be.
Man.
Been studying up, and I heard her using some words in here to describe a tornado and things a few
The
minutes
rear
ago.
flank draft.
I'm like, what
double
the
roll
sandhill has
clouds.
happened to her?
She's got those 4 TVs.
I was sending pictures. I was texting him pictures last night. Look at this tornado.
Y'all been to Graceland? Speaking of multiple TVs, you've ever been to Graceland, taking the tour of the
No.
house?
No.
Well, in Gracie's mansion, shall we say, when we walked through years and years ago, I was there with a bunch of news directors. We had our annual conference in Memphis, so they gave us a private tour, and we actually got to eat dinner in the hangar, the garage where Elvis had his airplane, and they still had that, and a bunch of, and a boat or two. And anyway, in the living room, there were 3 TV sets, the old style TVs. And the tour guide said, the reason is he liked to watch everything that was going on. Yeah. And then suddenly,
I can understand.
in the White House, Lyndon Baines Johnson, as president, said if Elvis Presley can have 3 TVs, I want 3 TVs so I can watch all 3 networks at the same time.
The good old days.
In the good old days.
The good old days. When they
I
were
can
just three.
understand.
That was the story that the tour guide told us. And, they never lie.
No.
In this house over here once lived the king of Spain. Sure.
Mm.
And that was just down the street from us. Fully automatic guns, some call them machine guns, and drugs were seized when Duplin County deputies stopped a car earlier this week. They seized one fully operational Mac 11 gun, 2 disassembled Mac 11s, 2 handguns, ammo, methamphetamine, marijuana, and drug paraphernalia. Joshua Pickle of Beaufort, North Carolina, and Morgan Bistritz of Otway, that's down east, were jailed on a variety of felony charges. They're being held without benefit of bond. Pickles has an outstanding warrant from Carteret County, go figure. Pickles' criminal record in North Carolina includes misdemeanor drug charges. That's about it. A couple of driving offenses. Bistritz has no history in North Carolina yet. That's coming soon to the theater near you.
Well, he's in
What are you doing?
pickle.
You know what? We know what the Mac 11s are. They're about that long. They're they're full. These were fully automatic. Huh. Makes them a machine gun, which is illegal, unless you have a certain special permit. You've got to pay money, a couple $100 for this permit. You have to pass a background check. You have to get the sheriff's permission from the county where you live. They didn't have any of that, and they had drugs. And they're in jail without bond. Wonder what's going on there. Well, we don't know, but we'll see. I think you can rest assured things are going to be coming down at some point in time. Those boys over there in Duplin, they've been the sheriff over there's got those guys competing with Asa Buck. In Carteret County. Yeah, stopping cars and finding stuff.
You would think those the drug people in Ace's area would get the message.
Well,
we don't want you here.
First of all, that's where these two people are from, Otway and Beaufort.
Oh, yeah.
Duh.
Down east.
Yeah.
Otway. Yeah.
People talk funny over there, too, don't they?
Otway.
So, yesterday,
Uh-huh.
you mentioned that question, and I said, last night I was telling some people, you got the closest answer to the question of.
Let's go for the question.
What does it take to have a future? Not to have a great future or bad future, but what does it take to have a future? Do you recall what your answer was?
Well, first of all, it's going to be the past, and then
Right.
You just answered it. That was the answer I was looking for.
You got to have history.
You have to have a past. The project I was working on, obviously, was Wreaths Across America,
Right.
where we remember, honor, and teach. The teach part comes into teaching our current generation about, as Rayford said,
past,
the
our
past.
history, whatever.
Our
You
past.
learn from it.
You learn from it. So most of our students who are getting out of school today, congratulations, be careful, drivers. Kids are excited. They have no clue. I really don't believe they have any clue about World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Shield. My point was this. I don't believe our generation, not everybody, but our generation remembers the past. I don't believe that they remember Vietnam. Not you.
Our generation.
Well, so our generation, let's say the baby boomers.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, gotcha.
the baby boomers and forward. I know you're a baby boomer, but a different situation.
Right.
We
because
study
of our
stuff.
families. Yeah, when we study. They don't recall, they don't remember what the military and what the reasons we were in these conflicts, wars, whatever you want to call it. And of course, doing research. For those that don't know why we were in Vietnam, Why was the U.S. over in Vietnam?
It's had a whole bunch to do with communists spreading its wealth around the world. There was one more area they wanted to spread their wealth to, that one step at a time. Adolf Hitler, years before that, he wanted to spread the wealth, the Nazi wealth, around. And if you ever find the map of Europe, Germany was a dot, basically, small country. And then if you will, and the progression from there is spread from Germany, France. Yeah, it went from Poland. It went from, and it kept adding. Suddenly, the greater area, the controlled area by German Nazis, was very large, a big chunk of Europe. That's what the commies wanted to do.
Correct, and that's why we were there to prevent it from coming here.
Yes, this headed off at the pass.
So, for those who, all of us that enjoy the freedoms that we have, but when I get so passionate about the REITs across America and businesses and stuff, would you have had those businesses right now under communism?
Well, you'd be limited in the number of rolls of toilet paper you could get. You would be limited of the days you could go, the times you could go, how much money you could spend, because they would issue it to you. And you would be, you would have these places, but they would all be owned by the government.
Yeah. So I didn't do a number on the counts, and I do want to share this count. Excuse me. On a good note, if I can just get my notes here. So here we are, as of midnight last night. We have 800 wreaths honoring our fallen veterans. We have 873 wreaths at Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery, and 135 at Onslow Memorial.
Onslow Memorial Park, they're on Highway 258. There are a lot of local people and a lot of local veterans who are there.
Yeah,
lots of them.
And so I think we had a check came in yesterday for $350.
Oh, that's nice.
Which was beautiful. We had the bike run out at New River Harley Davidson, and
that's 20 wreaths.
Yeah, and then for those wreaths, $5 of each of those wreaths create the purchase of another wreath. So 3 wreaths would actually get you a 4th.
Yeah,
the way it paid forward.
Right.
Is what the program is called. But you hit the key. And again, if you go on Facebook and my posts and stuff and look at some of the answers, they're great answers. They're great answers. We need God. You need faith. You need
all
hope.
Of the above.
All of those. All of the above. But to have the future, you have to have the past. We have the past. Those veterans that are resting in peace were our past. They were over there fighting for this future that we have.
And at this time in 1944, we had troops on the beach. We had bodies on the beach. The D-Day invasion began at 6:30 that time, which was 5 hours ahead of us. So that would be 12:13 right now. Well, it would be actually 4 hours ahead of us today, because we're on daylight savings times, which we did not have back in 1944. So it would be 11:13 in France right now.
Wow.
There'd been fighting underway, bombs bursting in air, artillery coming in, landing craft. I just cannot imagine. I don't even know where these guys trained. That's one part of that invasion that I have not looked into. I don't know where they were training at that time, because that is a massive operation. You try to put 150,000, my God, 150,000 troops from 12 countries on shore. A lot of them came in. We had a bunch of military flying in from here and dropping. Want to point a trivia, something cute? You saw The Longest Day, the movie The Longest Day. You've seen The Longest Day. Remember the paratrooper soldier that landed on the steeple that got caught, his parachute got caught, and he played dead? He was from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
That character was played by Red Buttons. And the Wilmington Star News, after that movie came out, there was a big article on him. he was from a neighborhood about, I don't know, 2 miles from where I was born.
Wow.
He lived there. My parents knew him when they were there. They had a retail operation there for a few years after the war, but they knew who he was. They didn't realize, they did not know any of that. But the newspaper, the Star News, because people in wartime quite often don't talk to you about it. He didn't talk to anybody about it. I'm sure he did, but he didn't talk to them about it. He was just, he was a customer. He went around, did his business.
Lee, not to get too personal, but your dad,
Oh.
did he talk much about?
No,
war
not
stuff.
really. And
Yeah.
he went to Vietnam twice.
Dad did 3. He
Yes.
only told one story, but
Dad was what they term a hardcore warrior. He started when he first went in. He caught the tail end of World War II.
Mhm.
And he was in the Korean War and then served twice in Vietnam and then retired.
My dad only told the funny parts of being in the service. He was in the South Pacific. On his way to the South Pacific, and as he was approaching the South Pacific, he had been at sea for 55 days. He was seasick for 55 days. That was the first
Oh my
thing that he
gosh.
talked about, and the amount of weight that he lost. And some of his bunkmates, they would bring him food as the little stuff that he could eat because he was losing weight rapidly.
yeah,
And then when he got ashore, he kind of said, I'm not going home. That thing.
yeah.
He did fly home after the war. But, and he said, in port, it didn't matter what your job description was. When the ships came in with supplies, he said these big cans, they had rolling planks coming off the ship,
Mhm.
and they were rolling down things like cans of peaches, is the one that he described. The big gallon or whatever size those big cans of peaches are. He said every now and then they would say, boys, someone would, peaches coming down. They all like peaches, and it'd all just back off. Well, the can would get damaged, so they had to open it up.
Oh, what a shame.
That's the way. And those are the kinds of stories that he would tell. I don't think he ever mentioned anything else. They were, as my mother said, they were lost at sea for 55 days because there was a blackout. They got no mail in. They got no mail going out. Everything was stationary. Nothing was happening. And I had so much of the mail that went back and forth. I have no idea where that is. I read it here. Maybe my sister's got it. I hope she has. But it had what we call redacted today information. They just cut it out completely in case a mail ship was intercepted or whatever.
Right.
And they just cut out anything mentioning locations, personnel, number of people, anything. Nope. Didn't make it. Clip, clip, clip. The censors during World War II were apparently very amazing.
Wow.
My dad didn't. There are a couple of candle holders that we have here made from artillery casings.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was the base cap, and one of them, they had fitted I don't know what size it was, some kind of a millimeter case on it. And he had necked it down because he had access to all that stuff, necked it down for candles to fit in. Inside, underneath the base of that, when he took it off, he had left a note from my mom.
Oh,
Nice.
that's nice.
Nice.
So,
That's pretty
a good
cool.
story.
and he
I
was
like
he had the rank of carpenter's mate at the end of the war in the Navy. What a ranking, right? And he was in charge of I guess he'd been in New Guinea. I think he was back in Pearl Harbor, wherever it was. Anyway, he was assigned to build boxes, shipping boxes.
Okay.
For the supplies, for the people, for the equipment that they had that they were going to be shipping home after the war. So he was still there after the war, but they were boxing stuff up, and they were boxing their own personal stuff up, clothing. And he's a woodworker. He loved woodworking. Philippine mahogany was what they used.
Wow.
That was readily available.
Oh,
He
really?
used Philippine mahogany, cut it down to build boxes out of for all of the big wigs, and him
Wow.
used it. and he sent a letter, a separate letter. Do not throw away the boxes that he was shipping his own stuff home in. He built a big box, but he would put like a penny or a knife or something in it.
Nice.
Something, a big box for a small item. And then he got a better idea. He started picking up the mahogany pieces, the biggest pieces, and he didn't make a box big enough to hold all of them and ship the mahogany home.
Wow.
He built stuff out of mahogany even after I was born around here. It was, it was a different time, different things.
I love building stuff.
So,
I mean,
But with mahogany,
those are the kind of stories that.
Mine are 2x4 pine.
But those were the kinds of stories that he would tell. Now, my late uncle, one of his brothers, there were 6 boys in the family. 5 of them were overseas at the same time in World War II. The other one was 13. He couldn't go. But my uncle, when he was 94 years old and on his deathbed, he didn't ever say anything about what had happened there. But he was a Navy Seabee, and he landed at Normandy, not on D-Day, but after that to go in to do stuff. And that's what he started telling me about on probably about 3 or 4 weeks before he died. I'd go see him every day, a couple of times, in fact, because he was in a home close to me. And then he told me that he said, yeah, this is where I never told anybody about this. This is where I was during that time. And we would guard the German prisoners. All of us would take turns guarding them. We were out and doing stuff on bulldozers, and we all had to carry a carbine. They were issued the 30 caliber carbines, not the M1s.
Right.
And he said that and a 45, we were assigned that was issued to us. And we would go out and we'd guard them. And when you're working on the tractors and stuff, snipers were still around there. You hear a bing from hitting the tractor.
Oh.
He said we'd all just jump down and just start shooting. We didn't hit anything. We'd just start shooting that way.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Pretty much. But the funny thing, and I've told the story before, he brought home, after he left the European theater, they sent him back home for 30 days. He brought his sea chest with him, complete with this 30 caliber carbine, his 45, a German 32 caliber pistol, wasn't a Luger, and had the Nazi symbol on it. And he had all of that stuff, and the carbine was actually manufactured by, I'm going to get these probably backwards, Remington Typewriter Company or Singer Sewing Machine, and the 45 was manufactured by the other one. They tooled up anybody that could produce stuff in a metal. Our government tooled them with tools to build guns in World War II. And so my cousin still has all of that stuff. Because when he was redeployed to the South Pacific to finish out the war, he didn't take his sea chest with him. He came home with another sea chest, but he didn't come home with any more guns. He loved guns.
Wow.
So
let's see.
All right.
910-333-0139. But I was going to say, what's the weather going to be like? Because I know Lee is already hyped up for.
It's more storm chasing tonight.
Lord of mercy. Offshore out to 20 nautical miles today. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knot, seas 3 to 5, 5 seconds apart. Could prove a bit challenging for small boats. Give it a second thought before you cross that bar. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Saturday, southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 with gusts to 25 in the afternoon. Seas 3 to 4, sounds and rivers of moderate chop, increasing to choppy in the afternoon. Sunday, southwesterly winds 10 to 15, increasing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Seas 3 to 4, 6 seconds apart. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, increasing to choppy in the afternoon. One of these days, I'm going to give you a flat sea condition report. Yeah. I don't know when.
It's like
I might be lying, but I'll give it to you.
It's like a washing machine report this morning.
Pretty much.
Sudsy and all right. Today, scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Partly sunny with a high near 86. Northwest wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 70. Saturday, afternoon showers and thunderstorms are likely. Mostly sunny with a high near 92. And here we begin. Heat index values as high as 101. Sunday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny with a high near 91.
Yeah.
And Chris, it's gotten so bad watching these storm chasers that I've got a helmet. Last night I was,
What?
it's Charlie. Last night I was watching and we were in the midst of going from one tornado to another. Well, I went to let the dogs outside. I went to the back door. When I opened it, you could hear like this roar, like a freight train.
Yeah.
And I'm just like going, but we don't have any warnings. And I'm just listening, just standing there, and realized it was a very low flying osprey.
Yeah.
But it was strange because you come from watching a tornado hit a town, and then you go outside and you hear that roar, and you're like, you're like looking.
Not a lot lately around here.
When I got your text, I was baking cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you put on, I went, oh my goodness.
You're the only one I can share my storm chasing with.
Charlie, how's things on the western coast of the United States of America?
Hey, Charlie.
You know, I was going back and forth in the chat room with Lee.
Yeah,
and we were talking about me in military school. And Lee said something about, did I enjoy it? Another time when I call in, you guys, I went to a school, and it was called Missouri Military Academy. I was literally beaten. I was drugged at this academy. It was one of the most horrific experiences of my childhood, but it is what it is. So I just think it's funny. So we'll talk about that another time. Maybe bring that up. Okay. Hey, have you guys talked about the whole? Listen, everybody's talking about it. It's kind of cliche. You know, the Elon Musk, Donald Trump stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yes.
I don't know anything about that.
We have, Charlie, I spent the whole day on X yesterday. I was like going, oh.
What I find interesting, it's the world's richest man against the world's most famous businessman. And they're going clashing.
You know, they're lyrics in a song that, Charlie, you can relate to. Children behave.
Children
behave.
Let me see what Elon has said this morning, because I was following Elon.
The monkeys, I believe it was.
And
children behave.
I'm surprised he's not banned Trump from X yet.
The word
running just as fast as we can.
There you go.
Dun, 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 dun. One
Can
running,
I
one
my
another.
take on the whole thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Please do.
So here's my take. Obviously, Elon Musk is a very smart human being, but I think if you look at him when he speaks in public, there's an element of autism. There's something about him that is off.
He has.
There's a nervousness. There's a type of insecurity about him. I'm not sure what he creates. Obviously, he surrounds himself with brilliant people. So I'm not going to say he's the most brilliant guy in the world. Actually, one of my closest friends, they shot him in a phototype environment. The whole thing is kind of bizarre. Listen, I don't know finance when it comes to the United States government. Obviously, there's trillions of dollars involved. Obviously, it seems like Elon Musk is like, hey, Donald Trump, listen, you need to take the $17 trillion here. You need to move $17 billion here. I have no clue what that means. I think, actually, I don't know what my point is. I think that he has a brilliant mind, but I think that he wanted Trump to acquiesce, if that's the right word, to everything that he brought to the table. I think he discovered things that were corrupt in our government, and he's like, "Listen, you got to listen to me. You got to listen to me." And Trump's like, "You know what? Let's take a break."
Well,
let's hold back.
First, what he did not understand until he arrived on board this Trump train, he did not understand there's a thing, and Lee knows all about it. It's called politics. Sometimes you got to go with the flow. Sometimes you got to give a little bit. Sometimes you got to take a little bit. And that's what Elon Musk doesn't understand. But and we got a guest coming in too. So let me sum it up real quickly. Here's what I think. I think this is all for show, that they're going to kiss and make up and going to catch the entire country by surprise.
A lot of people are saying that.
Except me.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it.
Yeah, the stocks.
Yeah.
They always go down, then boom,
pow, wham,
jump
back up.
Actually, all this started like yesterday, and I don't know if you saw any of the news stories coming out that were making remarks about Elon's allegedly having a drug habit and being high on drugs when he was out there with Trump and on stage.
There you go.
I will tell
There
you,
you go.
and I thought, now why is that coming up now? Well, it explains it after yesterday with the X war between Trump and Elon. And
just wait and see.
just real quick, Elon Musk has Asperger's syndrome, a condition that affects social interaction, communication, interest, and behavior.
I must
So
have
that's
too.
because I always thought he was a little wacky, when I was watching. I was like,
A little
what
bit.
in the world?
A little bit.
All right, you need to stay tuned because
Okay,
we got
yeah.
a couple of fine gentlemen coming through the door here, through the gate, and what I'm looks like.
Can I call back?
Not right away. I'll let you know
After them.
because there's
Yeah.
a couple of VIPs here we're going to be talking to.
Not right away. Not right away.
Thank you. Okay, and now here come the hugs. The first hug is underway. So,
I'm getting a hug.
yeah, we're going to be saluting Sergeant Major. Come on over here, join the crowd. We're creating a couple places for you, Sergeant Major.
Sir. We want to go here next to you.
And
You know it, brother.
welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, how we doing? Any diving lately?
No, not lately. No. Since I saw you, I had a quadruple bypass and got me a bunch of extra stents put around me and got some things fixed up in the heart.
You did?
After it stopped beating.
Come on, man.
Still on this side of the dirt,
That's what I'm talking about.
I think. I check my blood pressure several times a day to be sure.
Just to make sure.
Who do we have? Oh, I know her. There's my dog. I knew, not her. I knew.
Can I just start off by saying this outfit is like snapping.
She wants it.
Love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Hey.
So let's see here. We got to get all these microphones
You got
turned
it,
here.
flaunt it, right?
That's it.
Oh.
There you go.
And Marine Corps gave me the opportunity to do it. I'm gonna
He's
do it.
doing it proud too. He's doing it proud. Sergeant Major E.H. Mayfield. I do that every time, don't I?
Yeah, E.L.
E.L. Mayfield.
and the B in there, Bessie Top. We don't both can't
I can't pronounce that
too
one. You can't even do that one. But anyway, and I'm not going to call you his sidekick.
Sergeant Lopez.
Sergeant Lopez Jr.
Yeah. Eduardo, correct?
Humberto.
Humberto. Ice one.
It's a good guess.
I never took Spanish in school. I
Hey,
took French, and that did me a lot of good, didn't it?
You pronounce it pretty good, Eduardo.
Yeah. I'll work on it. So, and
Look, we just did weather,
and
so
then
we're
we
all
got
messed
my
up.
puppy dog over here too. My servant. Yeah. Hey,
That's
Yeah.
love for this.
do not pet, but
Yeah, that's a
you
lab.
can.
I'm going to, that.
Lab.
Like that.
Yes, he's beautiful.
Yeah, I just gotta say, I love this hat.
Oh.
It's so classic.
I thought the Rangers were coming in the door.
Well, it's
We got to get your mess straight. He's a Marine. This is not a hat.
cover.
cover. No, no.
Aye, aye,
I
wanna make sure.
The cover.
Naval,
But it's
a naval terminology, right?
I mean,
absolutely.
I love the jacket.
And
too.
since the Marine Corps is part of the Navy,
Stop.
I think it's the other way around.
Hey, Sergeant
Naval
Sergeant
Department.
Mayfield,
Yeah.
he was a Coast Guardie.
I know it.
Yeah, he was a coastie.
Love it.
So,
you know the
you know.
difference? Is that the Navy?
Huh?
You know the difference in the Coast Guard and the Navy?
Department of Interior and Department of
No. The Coast Guard, when our boat sank, we just walked ashore. We're in shallow water.
They went around bikini watching.
There you go.
my wife Kathy is a disabled Marine vet, and it's interesting because when she goes to DAV or some of the others and talks to Air Force people, or the Navy people, and they all tell their stories about what the Air Force, we get
Air
you where
Force.
you're going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Navy, we get you
but
where
they
you're
spend the
going.
nights at the Holiday Inn, right?
Well, that's a beautiful thing about it. Is, again, it is cooperative, but again, when we find
Oh, we got to have
I'm just throwing mine in there.
when we
My
find
daddy,
each other in the Ville, there's a whole nother thing. We got to rattle a little bit,
my daddy was a Marine and very active in the community.
And
here
there
until he
are
passed
more
away, so-
stories about Navy and Army and Marines
I'm a Marine
fighting in
brat.
every bar they've ever been in, right?
everywhere we go.
Well, you're just practicing, right?
That's tradition. What are you
Yeah,
talking about? You got to stay in shape for war fighting for real.
That's all you're doing, just practicing and rehearsing.
Shoot, yeah.
So what you been up to? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Same, you know. I haven't done anything different, you know, just
Still
been
kicking
doing
people?
busy.
You
Huh?
look
You
great.
still kicking people?
I'm still doing that, you know. I still rattle around a little bit, you know, got to roll. You know. I'm
He's
not-
an instructor in that thing called jiu-jitsu and everything else.
Judo. I mean,
Judo.
Yeah, primarily Olympic sport of judo.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand combat is what you call it. whatever it
Absolutely.
is.
I was hand-to-hand combat instructor during Vietnam. So during the war, so that was at MCRD San Diego.
Probably had to get a little
For
practice.
many
over there,
many
too.
years.
Right.
Vietnam. What's your favorite song from that time?
It's that one. I don't give a damn about Vietnam.
Yeah.
That was the one.
That's a good one.
I didn't get all the words to it, but I like when I heard that little
That's
phrase.
good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. I got it.
Well, I will say you look fabulous.
Thank you, man.
Sharp.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
sharp.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you have a big deal coming. Well, yesterday you had an event.
No,
today you've got an event.
Today.
And tomorrow.
That's what I want everyone to know. Today at the Jacksonville Memorial Gardens, we will have at 17:45 p.m. We will meet there, and what we'll be having is a wreath dedication. We have a wreath that will be made up in the form of a Purple Heart.
Oh, wow.
And that wreath will be dedicated at that time. At the same time, we have luminaries that have been passed out. So if you want to remember your fallen, those luminaries will be collected. They will be consecrated. They will be blessed, and they will be burned, and they will be reduced to ashes. Symbolically, what that's about is simply saying that here we have diversity.
Yep.
We may or may not get along, doesn't matter, but under that flag, we fought, we died, all of us together, black, white, red, green, male, female,
No
don't
matter.
care.
It's not.
Does not matter. When those ashes come together, and they're mixed. So once we get those luminaries, we burn them, consecrate them, take a measure of those ashes, put the biggest part of them in a large funeral urn. In the small funeral urn, we take a measure of those ashes. They will go from here. Once we dedicate the wreath at this ceremony here, then we will take those ashes. He and I will leave soon after we're done. We're going to head up. This time we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to head up to Quantico. We're going to spend the night at Quantico.
Oh, okay.
And so
Can
we
you
don't
get a
have to
room? I
drive
might be able to
around.
help you there.
Sir?
Can you get a room? I might be able to help you.
I'm going to get a room. Come on up. Hey, I'd love it. The more the merrier. But what we'll do is that we'll stop there, and then we will at 15:15 p.m. on Saturday at the Tomb of the Unknown.
Oh, wow.
During the ceremony, that little funeral urn that we have, first of all, we will take the wreath that we have dedicated here, and that wreath will be laid at the tomb. That same wreath will be laid at the Tomb of the Unknown. So it starts here with our blessing and consecration. Our spirits are in it, taking Jacksonville's spirits there. The tomb guard, we will go, Sergeant Lopez and myself. We're sharp. We will be in dress blue alphas.
Yep.
So we'll be in ribbons and badges and signing and doing what we do, representing like we're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, get jumped on by the
I
commandant.
bet you will.
Exactly.
I'm not having Sergeant Major Marine Corps come and get me about this. So then we'll do that. Once we've laid the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns, we move off to the side. No talking is done whatsoever. He and I move off to the side. I pull out that small funeral urn with a measure of those ashes from the luminaries. He takes a cap full of those ashes, toss them to the wind. So that just, again, those spirits are now gone. Now from there, we move directly from the Tomb of the Unknowns. We move directly, I'm a Vietnam veteran, so we move to the Vietnam, that black wall. Right. There's one gunnery sergeant, Benjamin. He was he was first sergeant when he got killed. I tell this story so it's the drastic part of it. He got hit by a bouncing Betty, and if you don't know what a bouncing Betty, he stepped on it, crossed it, and it went straight up into him.
Yep.
Blew him apart. Big guy. He was really big, scrappy guy. Blew him apart and stuff, and he suffered for a while. So when they told me that, I was back at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, when he got killed. And then I personally went on a tear myself of ripping things apart and stuff. But then once I got here and had the opportunity, I went into put myself into Salisbury as a veteran who needed to get his head and butt wired together as best as I could. And they did a pretty good job of patching me together. And they are the ones who introduced me to this ceremony. When they introduced me to the ceremony, being a Sergeant Major United States Marine Corps retired, drilling ceremonies is not something I'm slack on. I know how to do that foolishness. Okay? It's like asking him about fishing.
Got that t-shirt.
Please don't.
Don't start. Or diving, right?
I'm cooking them more than I'm catching them these days.
That's all right, man. Hey, I'll come and see you.
Had some
That's
last night again.
So at any rate, the final portion of that is once we've laid the wreath there, created the ashes. Now we take those ashes we created and a measure of those ashes. I put it in. Sergeant Lopez cast them to the winds at that shrine. We leave directly from there and we go straight to the Vietnam Wall.
Yeah.
Get to the Vietnam Wall. Again, I do my thing representing that particular war, cast ashes to the winds. Okay. We move from the Vietnam Wall. Once we've done that, we go to the various other shrines. And the main one there on that shrine there is the one where the nurse type is taking care of the wounded veterans and stuff. And so we'd circumnavigate it, cast ashes to the winds at that shrine. Then we leave there. We head to what?
The Iwo Jima.
Iwo Jima. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So we get to the Iwo Jima Memorial. He and I look at each other. We pass each other, circumnavigate it, come back together, take all remaining ashes then in the funeral urn on the grass, of course, cast them to the winds at that particular shrine. Cap it up, march away, change uniforms, come home. No yakety yakking, no preaching, pontificating.
No political brothers here, right?
Whatever you feel in your heart, mind, body, and soul about dealing with it, we provide the theater. You enjoy it.
And you enjoy.
Well, Sergeant Major, sir, I'd like to ask you a few questions now. Is there one particular organization that is putting this on tonight?
The Military Outreach,
Military
Judo
Outreach,
and Jiu-Jitsu Organization in Mojo.
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 Okay.
Got your mojo working.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm talking. So when we say, I got my mojo working, but it
All
just
right.
won't work on you.
He can sing too. Did you hear that?
I'm thinking about seeing if he wants to do a duet on stage.
Let's roll.
Or
Yes, sir.
Why not?
Where you
a
want
couple of
to say?
baritones. Anywhere, anytime.
I ain't scared of you. Come on, let's
Oh,
roll, brother.
it would be my honor.
It'd be all right.
You know what,
Let's
I would
work on that. Let's
I
work on
would
that.
love to have you do.
What's that, sir?
The national anthem. He can sing that.
Absolutely. You're reading my mind, aren't
He
you?
can sing the national anthem.
Scary.
Yes, he can.
You're gonna make me tear up.
Yeah, they would
Could
let
you do
me.
it a cappella by any chance?
Absolutely.
Mics are open.
Yeah, I'll be calling.
Oh,
I'll find you a
say,
tissue. Here.
can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the the free and the home of the brave.
Wow.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Stunning.
Arigato.
Wow.
Very good.
I got
Extremely good.
Thank you.
I got to tell you this. Last Saturday, I'm with Wreaths honoring our fallen veterans.
Yes,
For
sir.
Wreaths Across America. We had a bicycle run, and we were looking for someone to sing.
I got his number.
Well,
I,
now,
said,
now we
I
know.
didn't know that you had such a wonderful voice.
Thank you.
One of the
Anytime.
greatest renditions I ever thought I heard was Whitney Houston's at the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
That
That was perfect. That's
That-
the way
yours,
it
sir,
should
just
be
topped it.
sung.
yours
Thank
just
you.
topped it.
Scary.
No.
Gave me goosebumps.
Scary.
Yeah, it does.
Me too. That
It does
was
get
just
it.
That's
beautiful and awesome.
Yeah. That's exactly the way it should be sung.
That's my wife's
Perfect.
contact number
Thank you.
there. I don't have my cards with me,
But I got his number.
but he's got my number. So I'll be happy to do it. I'd love to. You know,
My
that's
Lord
what I
have
do.
mercy.
That was an
Anything
honor, sir.
patriotic for me, I'm in it.
We will talk.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we
all
talk.
right. But like I say, so once we've done the wreath laying and then we go to the Iwo Jima Memorial, let's say we circumnavigate it, cast all ashes to the winds, and then we move away. We're done. We get off, we change clothes, we come home, okay? And leave it where it is in that regard. That's another year that's done. But this year, I've met with, had good fortune, the wife and myself, we met with Major James Capers.
Oh, really?
We love
Love
him.
Sergeant.
Recently?
We love him.
Yes. As a matter of fact, they should be listening on the air right
Yeah,
now.
matter of
Not gonna
fact,
listen.
I'll be at his meeting next week. Capers Foundation.
Oh,
okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's
That's the
great.
Capers Foundation. You'll be at the meeting. I'll see you there then.
Well,
we
good.
just got invited ourselves as well. So,
He's a great man, too.
Wonderful.
huh?
He, too, is a great man.
And a great story.
Yeah,
that
is
Now,
good.
You know, and like it's like this young man here is, you know, Sergeant Lopez. He's tell your story. He was there at the Beirut.
And they were in 1983
Wow.
in the bombing, yes.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
yeah.
You're in the barracks. You're in the barracks.
No,
Right outside the barracks.
Outside.
he had a staff non-commissioned officer like myself who said to him, "I'm not sleeping in that barracks. I'm a
Oh,
grunt.
really?
I'm going to pitch tents outside, and I'm not going inside. Yes, nice and comfortable, but I'm going out. I'm going to pitch outside." So his
Uh-huh.
staff non-commissioned officer said the same thing to him, and he listened to him. And when the barracks came down, it didn't come down on them. They were outside. They pitched tents like Marine, infantry folks did and
A
stuff like
friend of
that.
mine, he
It
was
was
he was
convenient.
Navy on board one of the ships offshore. He was a
Okay.
photographer. And of course they zipped him right in.
No, exactly. He slipped everybody in.
Big old burly guy,
Yeah.
shooting pictures. Had a Navy beard, ship aboard ship beard, and he was over there too. And he came to apply for a job with me when I was a television news director. Wanted to be a photographer.
okay.
He retired when he was 37. In other words, there was a little line going on to get in. He did 20. Got out when he was 37.
Mhm.
And I said, "What? You got any experience?" "No, I've done a lot of still photography." And I said, "Okay, well, I can teach you motion picture stuff. Not a big deal. It's an easy transition as far as I'm concerned. If you got the eye, you got the eye." He said, "Well, I got some pictures I can show you." And he opened up a book. Because the pictures that he shot, he printed extras. That became his portfolio. I said, "You're hired." Number one, you're 6'4" or 6'5". He weighed probably 270. He looked like he had been through a war and lost. But he was the one who used to tell me he was the ugliest man around. But I said, "I won't have any trouble sending you into any situation."
No,
He
you
said,
won't. He's
"No,
telling me.
you won't." He said, "I can handle it." I know. He said, "I won't break the camera either." I said, "Done."
I hear
He's
you.
my best photographer ever.
There you go.
There you
Good
go.
God.
And
Never a mission too tough.
Mhm. And I'm noticing Wreaths Across America. I mean, it's such a great job.
Thank you.
Such a great effort. Just
Yeah.
quietly.
You can be a
just-
member of this
it says what it
organization. We all are. It's something that he started on the local endeavor here. So
you did that. You started.
Yep.
Started mid-October of last year,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, his
we were
wife-
able to raise 600, and now we've also picked up Onslow Memorial Park because people don't
so
know
that
this, but there's 1,500 veterans buried at Allsville Memorial Park, plus what's the men and women who are resting in peace at Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery. And so we're working very hard and
to get that word out to folks and stuff like that. And that's what we're doing. And Mrs. Mayfield, my wife, myself, and Love, my dog here. This is a triangle in Jacksonville. It's just the three of us. Okay. We've been she and I have been doing 501c3 nonprofit stuff since 1970 when we met each other in California. So
wow.
And we ended up being husband and wife. We're just best friends. So we're just best friends doing the same thing together.
That's awesome.
This was after I got out of the Marine Corps coaching these little crazy rascals. So I came back in the Marine Corps and then started coaching this young fellow. Okay. But
So we've been together 40 some years now.
That's not only wonderful, but
longer than most
it's amazing.
marriages
But to keep that friendship, to keep that friendship connected for that long is amazing.
With
And
that
it's
goal.
Yeah.
With a goal like that.
With
Oh
a
my
goal.
God.
well, like we said, folks can't stay married that long. Get the heck out of here. And they got a whole lot more going physically than we have going physically. So
Well, you're 47 years. You know what the median age is in Onslow County is? You know what the average age of the people in Onslow County is? The 230,000 or so we have here. You know what the age is?
no, sir.
22.
Jesus.
What? Scary.
Yeah, and see, and I'm in that 1 percentile. I'm in that 1 percentile. I'm 85. On my next birthday, I'm 85. So
God, I got somebody slightly older than me around here.
that's what I'm saying.
Not much.
No way I would have said
Baby
85.
girl's 81. So
She's beautiful.
I tell you about it. You aren't messing around with me. What you talking about, me? You know
I'm
that.
reading all about you and her.
Oh, there you go.
No, yes, sir. But yes, sir.
No, I was just going to say it's ironic that we're talking about the past with the Beirut bombing and the many whatever word people want to use at the time that you were in other countries serving our country. But right before you came in, we were talking about I had put out there for a question.
Good. I was going to do it.
Okay,
I was going to prompt you to do it.
Okay.
Here's the question.
It was, what do you have to have for a future?
What do you have to have?
For a future.
What do we have to have for the future?
For a future.
I mean, when you say bottom line, first and foremost, I'm basic. I'm just basic. One, you got to be breathing first of all. So
That's a great answer.
I'm just talking about
But
how
for
to stay
America-
alive. So I don't get beyond. Yes, sir.
For America to have a future, what we must have, what must we have?
Okay. My opinion of it is America is just a work in progress. It is not something that's a solid anything yet. It's still working. So this is a gestation period, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, well, he's answering this question the right way.
You are.
You're doing the same thing that I did.
Right. Yes,
it
yes.
is a gestation period. It's not automatic walk-in and this is America and this is the way it's going to. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, but racism, sexism, this, that, ism after ism after ism. So it's the greatest concept, and I've been other places, and of course as a person of African descent, that nasty little word has been called to me everywhere I've been. No matter where I've served, I've heard that word, and where the heck did that come from? I didn't start it, but there you go. But so what? I mean. That's not what I'm there to deal with. I'm there as fighting under that flag, under the American flag.
Your color is green. I know what your color is, and I know what shade it is.
Green, blue.
Green is the
Green, lean green fighting machine. But you were saying
So well for Reefs across America, it's remember, honor, and teach.
Okay.
And my question when I posted this on Facebook, and Rayford was the closest yesterday with the answer, and the answer is the past. You cannot have a future without a past.
Sure.
And when I say that, it's because
or a present.
Exactly. Our generation, or the generation of today, not our generation.
Yeah.
The generation today do not know what you men my father, who did 3 tours of Nam, Lee's father,
Same here.
what the men and women did for our country then,
Of course.
and the people today don't remember that.
Of
That's
course.
the sad part.
Of course.
And that's what part of what we try to do. And Rayford and Lee and Live and Local Real Talk are very helpful in getting this word out to our young people. But I also believe that the baby boomers, I'm a baby boomer, don't recall, have no memory, or even maybe the lesson of what you did.
And your age is what?
I'm 66.
He's a child.
Why did you pause?
Well, because everyone says I act like I'm 12, but I'm 66.
That's all right. You're 12-year-old 66.
Sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm
That's fine.
66.
I'm 13, so.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. But
I'm waiting
Wow.
to the,
You know,
Be proud of that. I'd be proud of that.
I'm proud of everybody that I'm associated with in the military.
And so am I, to some extent. Not all of them. Some I had to rack up a little bit.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm a baby boomer too, and I'm 65. But I do remember the past. Maybe back home where I'm from, they talked about the past.
Mhm.
And what made me join the Marine Corps was seeing everybody in Vietnam fighting for this country. And I get emotional when I think about it because that's what made me join the Marine Corps, the Vietnam War.
Right.
I saw the Vietnam veterans coming back, how they got treated. I was a young guy, 13, 14 years old. But that's what made me, because it was exposed to me. You know, I'm from Cuba. And my parents exposed it to me. Said, we're in this country because of these young men fighting and dying for you. They would always tell me in Spanish. They would make me watch the news, and we would talk about the war. And that's what made me join the Marine Corps, to be honest.
I think you two will appreciate this. I also work for Hope for Warriors. And we have a lounge out there for the military. And the young Marines have so much respect for you gentlemen because they don't feel in their hearts, even though they're just brand new recruits and they're coming in now to go to Tiger or Johnson for more training and stuff, that they're on the same level as you men.
Well,
that's how they see it.
And of course, that's the thing about any particular profession. As far as let's get off the military for a minute and let's say football. Okay, all right. We looked at the big names, and Joe Namath, and on and on and on and on. That's what inspires the young people to come along and be a part of it in the next place. The thing about the military is it doesn't really kind of get into the classroom the way sports gets into the classroom. And to me, that's something that's a little bit off for me as an American citizen. The most important thing that I think we should be concerning ourselves with is the maintenance of our own democracy, our own republic. And so, yes, I'm a Dodgers fan, or I'm a this fan, and we got jackets, and we got this, and we got all this paraphernalia. But you wear the flag and, or dress like this, and I'm an anomaly, and I should not be. Okay? I don't
You
think
should
so.
not be, and you're not.
I'm saying it should not be an anomaly, that you should be proud to wear and, to show your colors. Okay? And so since we are, as a society, we are such a color conscious society, How did that work in there, huh? Since we're so color conscious, let's deal with the red, white, and blue and what's about, and then put all the rest of that foolishness. Let's lay it down a minute, okay?
You mentioned Joe Namath. Why'd you think of that name first?
Why?
As a football guy, as a major football player, as an icon.
Yeah. Why did I mention?
Yeah, why'd you think of him?
It's the football player that came to mind.
The first thing I thought about when you said Joe Namath?
What's that, sir?
His pantyhose commercials.
Do
you remember that?
I remember. Hey, cha-ching, cha-ching.
He's a man. He's a real man if he can carry that off. And first of all, it's kind of like a boy named Sue.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
I remember.
Don't go messing with the boy named Sue. You might get hurt really bad.
Okay, I have one more question because I'm trying to put all this information on our social media sites. Is this your annual patriotic tribute and ceremony of the ashes?
That's the name of it.
Okay, good.
and that's Mojo.
I've
The
got
Mojo.
that
You
too.
got that part of it,
I've
right?
even got your website
All
on
right.
here.
And the thing is so that everyone can understand it. As I'm saying, I'm 85. So I've been doing this since 2009. I started this coming straight out of, really straight out of the VA hospital. I put myself in, things got crazy, and so went in there and started dealing with stuff, and it was an outstanding. They taught me something was cognitive processing therapy, how to work stuff in your own head to keep you from working your own foolishness in your own head that you got going on. So the medications and everything else that a lot of us veterans are on, I had medication to get up, I had medication to turn left, medication to turn right, medication to sit down, medication to make a head call, medication to do this, that, and the other. And I did not know my behind from a hole in the ground. I really did not. So
I understand.
this is really, I'm saying I was taking 30 something pills
Yeah.
every day. Just gobble them all night long, stuff
You
like
take
that.
pills to counteract the other pills.
They can't take pills to
Seriously.
counteract the me.
Right.
Okay, so for me, anyways, for some individuals it works.
So how
But
many do you
anyway,
take down?
Huh?
How many do you have to take today?
6,
Congratulations.
and they're minor.
Absolutely.
That's 6. So
One of them is
I
probably a baby aspirin.
yeah. So ask us exactly. 81.
We all got that. We all got that one.
As I said, old man stuff, older. But yes.
If I could, to Sergeant Lopez, and I remember the bombing.
So do I.
Were you stationed at Lejeune?
Yes, I was a camp guide with 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, and 2nd Marines. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. This is the headquarters for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And the folks just did it. They just did a memorial ceremony before, last couple weeks or so, right? They had something.
I think it was 3 days after that bombing. I was in Wilmington at the time, and I came here because a guy named Reagan flew in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there on the banks of the New River downtown Jacksonville when he walked in.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law flew him in
Flew him in?
by helicopter. He was a Marine One.
Okay.
Oh, darn, it's outstanding. See,
There's history
there's so
all
much.
over this
Yeah,
place.
it's always history all over.
Some of
So your
mine.
brother used to fly helicopters for the Marine Corps?
He was at Lejeune, at New River. Sorry, he was at New River to begin with. He was when they first came out with the 53 Echoes. He was an instructor, and then he left from there. And I don't know the exact trip, but anyway, he ended up in Quantico, as he put it, a lowly captain flying the president. And then they made him a major very quickly because he couldn't have a captain flying the president. And then he did his little tours, played in the sand a little bit, and Pentagon a little bit, which he hated, but they had to do it for officialdom. Then he got back to flying, got his wings back, and at New River, and then he ended up in Quantico again as CO of HMX-1.
Okay.
Retired there
Well,
under Bush, after he flew Bush into New York
wow.
after 9/11.
So he was at Washington, D.C. about for 8 years, 9 years?
I don't know. Off and on, you name it. I don't have a clue how many years. But he's retired to Eastern North Carolina now.
Well, that's the thing
Very
about
impressive.
that's the thing I'm
That's
saying
impressive.
about our patriotic tribute, of what we do in the patriotic tribute here and ceremony of the ashes. Again, based on having been there in Salisbury and in the hospital and when we took off from there and went to DC, one, I was not anxious to do it. First of all, there were 2 sergeant majors in our, let's say, in our class, if you will. Myself and another sergeant major, and I wound up being the one. Drilling ceremonies is something that we Marines are pretty good at, and I was on the drill field a couple of 3 times, so I think I know how to do that first.
I bet you were.
So it ended up that I wound up writing the script and everything else, formulating the detail and doing the whole number. So we went from Salisbury to DC, riding on the bus. The ironic thing about it is we got somewhere in Virginia, and we stopped off like one of these big sporting stores and stuff. We're going to walk through and pick up some junk, right? I go in the store, and in the book ceremony, here's this book big, thick thing. You know, it's got the memory stuff from where you've seen the green camouflage books and stuff like that. I opened the book up and I saw it. There I am.
Really?
I'm in that sucker. Okay.
Really?
I'm standing there. I was with my mortar team. Sergeant Bellata, he's down and got him down, and I'm giving commands, and you can see smoke poofing around. I remember exactly we were getting shot at. I mean, I'm saying stuff was going off all around, and I'm like a meerkat. I'm up looking around, directing fire and stuff, and you can see the report. You can see the smoke in the picture. I'll send it to you so you can see.
Please.
Huh?
Please.
Yeah, I'll send it to you so you can see it. And that's me there. And a female reporter, she was embedded in our unit.
They used to do that a lot.
They did that a lot. And so
Back in
she
the day.
traveled with us. So pretty much, I remember Sergeant O'Malley. Sergeant O'Malley was the first Marine to receive the Medal of Honor from Vietnam. He's the first. Sergeant O'Malley and I served together at the base brig, 14 Airwood, and Camp Lejeune. Served together
Inside or
as
outside?
chasers.
Okay.
I'm just checking.
I'll make sure you're inside.
Don't you start. No, I was a brig chaser there. And O'Malley, when the Vietnam War broke out, well, yeah, there we go. We got one of our guys, and boom, and it's a person I know. And then that kind of spurred me on.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Canley, Sergeant Major Canley.
I think we know about him.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
John Lee Canley,
Yeah.
okay, Sergeant Major Canley, another individual whom I served with my first 13-month tour in Okinawa. He was this buck sergeant then, before they switched over to the cross rifles. He was a buck sergeant, and I was a young
I've heard
lance
that term in a
corporal.
long time.
Yeah, and I was a young lance coolie, lance corporal, and kind of like I think you do yourself. I looked at him, I didn't talk to him. He's a sergeant, I'm a lance coolie, so I'm gonna be cool. But I'm watching this guy. I'm saying, look how he did his uniform. He had the old herringbone. And
Okay.
guess what? I had
You
worked.
got one.
Get out of here. I had already had mine. I had herringbones. I'd worked at the base rig, so I had herringbone utilities. And if you look at I got a picture I'll show it to you, and I got my company there. I'm the only one in herringbone utilities. And this is in Vietnam in 67. This is 67. We were in Okinawa. We went back to retrain. When I went back in country, that's when I got blown up out of country. After that, we went back. But
Where were you in January of '68?
I was on MCRD. So I went back to
Okay.
once I got out of Vietnam, that tour in Vietnam. When I came back in 67, 66, 67, I requested to go back to the drill field. And I requested to go back to the drill field because inside myself, I knew that's the place that I, as an individual, could do the most good for these young guys and other people going in. I've been there, done that. I'll go back to the drill field. I'm doing with a different passion now. I don't care about winning streamers. I don't care about winning drill and ceremony, stuff like this. I care about getting these guys ready because I know what the heck they're going into. And that was my concern. So we won drills, streamers as well, but those kids were ready for fighting. That was my personal commitment, and I continued to do that until I got out of the Marine Corps. I broke time. I got out of the Marine Corps in 1970, and in 1971, that's when I met my wife. At college, San Diego City College, but that was my time. So from 71 to 79. I was in the civilian division. So with that being in the civilian division, in 79, I went back on active duty, and guess what? Then I got Desert Shield, got Desert Storm, I got this.
Be careful what you wish for, right?
May I say?
We need to introduce you to a gentleman, and he lives here now. He's a retired Fed, FBI, but he in '68 he was one of I think he was a lance corporal at the time. John Legato. Have you met John?
I don't know.
John's retired FBI agent, but he did the Tet offensive thing. He was one of those. He's also an author and he was involved in getting
Canley.
Canley an award.
He was involved with that?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Outstanding.
He took it all the way
I
to
would
the
like
top.
to read it.
He
I
went,
would like
I
to
mean,
read it.
he did battle. He's a little short Italian dude, but
Hey,
He's
no.
retired
nothing
from the
wrong
Marine
with
Corps also.
but
Yeah.
we can't mess with him too much. He didn't retire from the Marine Corps.
Well,
Oh, he
No,
was-
he didn't retire. He got out of the Marine Corps,
Okay.
and after he
And
did,
then went
his,
into
did his
that,
time, and then
just,
he,
just
Okay.
cross-decked,
Yeah, okay.
well,
There
he
you
after
go.
a period of time he bounced around here, there, and everywhere.
and then he
And then
found
he
himself.
joined the Bureau, FBI.
Okay.
And then the first thing they did after a few years, they put him undercover.
Mhm.
8 years deep cover in the mob. He never saw headquarters for
Yeah.
8 years.
Well,
And up in Cleveland, he owned a strip club.
in Cleveland, oh, gee, Christmas. I grew up in Cincinnati, so I know
The
Cleveland.
FBI owned
I
a strip
know
club. A
Have you
strip club.
written your book yet?
You are about the 100th person that said I need to write a book, and guess what? Right now, you can't write when you're moving.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
Well, that's why you
So,
need to get up
No,
with John
that's why
Legato.
I'm giving it to him,
There you
Right.
go.
Oh, there you go.
so that this is his now. I'm passing. This is my last one that I'm the NCOIC of. Okay.
Right.
I'm passing it over to Sergeant Lopez.
Well, I read we
Yes.
we
Congratulations.
had Major Capers
Thank you.
on. We
Oh, we
talked
did.
about his book. I read
We did.
that.
Yep.
I read Muriel Harris's book that he put out.
The gutting.
No,
Haven't read The
this
Gun?
was something else. And of course, we've read all of John Legato's books too.
That one was
And
the gunning.
that was the Gunny. Yeah, the Gunny was really good. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm anxious to wait for your book.
Well, the thing is, we'll work about that. And,
Good.
and my book, what I want in my book right now, since I've come across this gentleman and stuff as well, and that is Major Capers thing. I'm
Yes.
looking, I don't get it. I just
Don't get it either.
don't freaking
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Here we go.
No, I don't. I'm just saying I don't
Right.
because, I'm not a brute. So when Major Capers was fighting in Vietnam, I was fighting also at the same
Right.
time. I didn't know him, any more than he knew me. You know what I'm saying? I'm Mayfield. Why don't you know me? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Because I'm, this is
You were
Rayford.
You were a number.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, we haven't time for that. But now that we do know each other, we come across each other. I looked at the same thing. Bert has, what you have, Navy Commendation with a V, with a combat V in it, right?
mhm.
I wear 3 Purple Hearts. I don't got a combat V. Well, and there's a reason for it, for me. And the reason for it was I was on a 13-month tour and I got wounded out of country within 6 months. So my command is there. I'm recuperating. Who's going to write the citation?
Nobody.
These folks back here in the state don't know a darn thing. They don't know me from a hole in the ground.
Just what gets me.
And my command is over here.
Mhm.
The information is gone. The people who could have written it, who saw it, and witnessed it,
They're dead.
they're dead and gone by now, especially by now. So Mayfield, the highest thing I have is 3 Purple Hearts. No one to write it. That's a situation that occurred with so many
You really
veterans.
do need to meet Legato because he's battling that right now with some other individuals, and he's uncovering some stuff at the location where they make these decisions,
Yes,
where
sir.
all the paperwork is turned in, and he has found some rats.
Some glaring
Rats.
rats. Okay. Nests of them. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yes.
Yes, sir.
That's a shame.
You
And
too.
it is a way. It is a way. But
He's doing
you know,
battle, and you don't mess with. You really a guy who survived. I mean, 8 years in the mob. Number one, when he survives that, and then arrest the people that he was socializing.
Yeah, if he made it, making it 8 years and messing around. with that
That's the one dude you don't mess with,
Mhm.
and he's Italian too. So
Yeah,
and everything
yeah,
working.
connected. And
Yeah.
I think some connections.
But
there, possible.
seriously, he's doing battle with the whole group right now. We've had him on here a number of times to talk about it.
And
We got to introduce you.
really, and I think, as a matter of fact, I think that's an outstanding notion. I'd love to sit down and have especially Reith, all that we're doing here, the kind of talk we're having here, is the kind of stuff that needs to be done. But again, not confrontational, but just squaring stuff away. Because,
Right.
you know, I'll fight any daggum thing. That's not a problem. I'm not concerned about that shit.
Not me. I'll run. I'll try to run.
No, but I'm not looking to fight anything. Just looking to say, how can we do this more peacefully and just respect what's been done? And it's very simple. But if someone's got a little tick in their, skivvies and we can't get past it, now we got to put up with that foolishness. So
Right.
that's what I'm talking about. So racial prejudice, gender prejudice, this, that, and the other, we know it exists. We know it's there.
Mhm.
And if someone's in a position to deny you something that they can hurt your feelings or hurt your cause, then they'll do it.
Exactly.
So that's just human. Again, it's human nature. Okay.
Yeah.
And, aside from the Marine Corps thing, and we didn't stop learning, just like Major Capers. I mean, even Chris is, man, educated out his behind. He's way educated. I got a master's degree in social work, so child and family specialist. Me, this killer, as people would say. No, I'm a human being like anyone else, just another American citizen doing what we do. Once we come out and try to deal with it, I want to help people as well. But we got to be able to help ourselves to help someone else.
My first encounter with Major Capers, and it was helping. He owned Tree Frog Records on Western Boulevard.
I didn't know that.
This
Really?
goes way back. Yes, this was when I was in radio. I
Wow.
was disc jockeying in nightclubs and stuff, and I would every day go see. And I still refer to him as Mr. Capers.
You remember what records were, don't you?
Oh, where you go ask me? I'm the oldest thing in this room. You ask me.
33,
45.
I still got them all.
I remember what chiseling on that. No, you think
I
I'm
still
kidding?
got my first service weapon up there.
No,
You know
no.
what it is? 1851 Springfield musket.
You may think I'm kidding.
I do.
Well, I have a 9mm German Mauser.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
that I was looking down the bore of.
Oh, my. Took it away from somebody.
I got it as a combat. I got it. I got it back.
Trophy.
We looked down the board at that thing like a daggone battleship thing.
I understand.
Yeah, I have it at home right now. So
Good for you.
it's a war trophy, and
We were talking about it yesterday.
Huh?
We were talking about it yesterday.
and it works. See, the AK-47s and stuff that people were taking for war trophies, they had to solder the barrel up.
Had to fix those.
But my 9mm is a bolt action, so bolt action,
Right, yeah, it was just
single
fine.
shot.
Wow.
So
Yep.
it wasn't automatic fire. So I got to keep it as a regular war trophy. Got the certificate and everything else like that.
Cool.
But that one I was looking. I saw it. I'm serious. I was looking down the board at sucker. And
One split second away.
Yeah, turn, and I just got my shot out quicker and things like that.
So-
But
For the event today
yes, sir.
at 17:45,
Yes, sir.
and for those of us in civilians, that's 5:45, folks.
He,
What is a good time for the public to be in place? Because I know 17:45 means 17:45.
For me, it means 17:45.
oh, well, if you're there at 17:45, you're
Yes,
already 20 minutes late.
The rest of it for the civilians or whoever, whenever you decide you want to show your behind up. If you want to show up, I'll be happy to have you come. Just be quiet,
Yes.
That's it. Be quiet, be respectful. But 17:30, 17:40, I'll be there at about 17:30 to prep to make sure things are done.
May
I'm
we
always
take
in the
pictures if we
room. You can
attend?
do
Yes.
anything.
Be very
You can take
respectful, yes.
pictures and if you are danger close to things, I might figure a way to work you into it. That's the point
Okay.
about it,
Yeah.
because anyone and everyone, this is community.
Right.
That's the way
Right.
this is Mayfield and I, we dreamt this up. Mostly me. And, she's backing pretty much everything I do in that regard. And I'm just blessed to have that in my life.
And she allows you to do this stuff.
Huh?
And she allows you to do this stuff.
No. Uh-uh.
I knew that was coming.
No. She don't allow me to do nothing.
With her.
Pray for me.
Look at you, Cracker.
We need to change it. We need to go on.
Come on.
He's stirring us up there.
Well, through it.
You'll be sleeping in the doghouse today.
Hand grenades are one thing. Hand grenades are one thing. They're cool.
I love
Verbal hand grenades are
Oh,
just as
man.
much fun. Let me
I
tell you.
love it. It's such a
It's
great
Friday.
fun.
He's an agitator.
I know. He's great. I know.
There's one little pineapple over there.
This is my baby bro. Yeah, but no, with the thing is,
I wonder if that's
especially
still
like,
armed.
like folks doing things like wreaths across America and stuff like that. Matter of fact, I have
Be careful now.
a small flag, one of the flags that would be planted, right?
Yeah,
It's a wreath. At the hospital, I was up there doing that, and the staff were going through selling the flags or asking for donations for flags. So I got one of the small ones. I folded that flag up properly, and that flag is going to become an integral part of this ceremony.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to plant it
Wonderful.
somewhere.
Wonderful.
And while there, I've got a contact on that end that does our PR stuff, Daniel Sonnet. Mr. Sonnet he's worked for the Smithsonian and stuff, so he's a photographer and stuff for them as well. So he will cover us on that end. And I want to take and make sure I want to get by Major Caper's family plot there. His wife and son are buried there.
Right.
Out of respect for him, I don't want to go by and just, salute and stuff. And
Any
and
photos
pay-
that you
pay
get
respect.
with you in those photos?
Very
Would you
possibly.
please send them to me
if I
so
would-
we can put them up on our Facebook page?
Before I do any photos, I've asked the major to be listening in on this. Before I would do any photos or anything, that I would ask his permission if he would allow me to
absolutely.
do that. And if that be the case, then I certainly will share that with you.
Right.
But at the other side of that, for absolute sure, I have to, for me, because of our connection as far as Marines in my young years in the Marine Corps, I have to touch base with Sergeant Major Canley's grave. I
Yeah.
have to do that.
Wow.
Okay?
Yes. Please.
This is my full circle, because Canley was an inspiration for me as a young PFC and Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps. And he was a buck sergeant, the old 3-stripe sergeant before they changed to the cross rifles and put in there. So he would have had to revert back to become a corporal, okay, with cross rifles instead of a 3-stripe sergeant, okay, when they changed it. So Corporal E4 was sergeant before, so they needed that rank. So now when that changed, fortunately, Canley's rank changed, so he had the
He's on
3 in the cross rifles and went on obviously to become sergeants major. But some didn't, and some fell off to the wayside. But I just want to kind of make sure, for me, since I've served with these Medal of Honor individuals, I want to touch that spirit and honor them personally, since I'm at Arlington anyway. And so they're buried there. I want to go by and pay my respects to them and pay our
Good.
introduce
Thank you.
her to it.
Thank
So,
you for that.
Mhm.
It is always a pleasure.
absolutely.
It's an honor.
I was just getting ready to say, I'm glad I'm here today.
Yeah, you picked the right day.
It's
didn't
an
you?
honor.
What an honor
So,
to
it's
be able to
always
shake both your
special
hands.
having you.
Thank you.
You have my wife's card, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And we'll get in touch with you. We'll be in touch with each other. As a matter of fact, I'll look, and I think I got a card in here too. But we'll definitely hook up with each other
Yes, sir,
and
please.
do all of this good stuff.
Now, Reef Across America goes all over the USA to different states, or you just
So Wreaths Across America is national, all 50 states. There's over 4,900 cemeteries. That wreath laying ceremony on December 13th of this year will happen. And it's a very solemn event, because as you're laying the wreath at the veterans' gravesite, you are actually saying their name and thanking them for their service. And a lot of people don't understand what Wreaths Across America is about. And $17 to sponsor a wreath, and it was so sad last year. At that time, there were 6,000 veterans at the Veterans Cemetery here, Coastal Carolina State Cemetery. 2,100 veterans' grave sites went without a wreath, which is
That's
absolutely, in my book, is very.
very upset.
It's
Didn't happen.
upsetting. Very,
his
it's a
mission,
shame.
he and his wife, his lovely wife. What is her name now?
Her real name is Kathy.
Okay, I just
Yeah,
want to be sure
yeah,
it's still
yeah.
Kathy. Somebody called her Stephanie or something.
Yeah.
The other day. So we
We
lived with
harass
that
her.
one. But she, the two of them really have got this thing going. They're pushing just as hard as they can to make sure there is not an uncovered grave this year. Not in Jacksonville.
So
Not
you
the
have
home of
co-
Camp Lejeune.
You have contacts in every state then, offices in every
Yes. So
state.
each state has local group leaders or coordinators for that particular cemetery. So our group, which is called Wreaths Honoring Our Fallen Veterans, we represent not only the Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery as a group, but I'm a coordinator for Onslow Memorial Park Cemetery. So at Onslow Memorial Park, we will have, and we will be very blessed if you'll honor us on December 13th by partaking in the event, is our event is going to be based with military, as it used to be at Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery. So we will have military represented from every branch lay a wreath for their particular branch. We will have
Understood.
the national anthem,
Mhm.
Lord willing, sung by you.
Love to do it.
We will have taps played by a bugler.
Oh,
This is going to be the way that we feel it should be done.
Mhm.
But our mission is to make sure that all 8,500 between the two sites have a wreath on there.
include everyone. That's all inclusive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question
Yes, ma'am.
about this that you're doing. Now, this is in honor and remembrance. Is it just for those that lost their lives
No.
fighting or for
What?
any?
No.
Anything.
No.
It can be a family member.
Oh,
anyone.
no. Ours is an honor and remembrance. We're not just military. We are first responders. This is first responders. We're all of that. We are classroom teachers. Teachers are getting killed in classrooms. My wife's a retired school teacher.
Bless you.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. So we included everything, all of these elements, the first responders, police, fire, etc., as well as our armed forces personnel, because it is to us, it's that kind of a fight. It is that kind of a fight because these other entities are the feeder sources for our armed forces.
I like that.
So it's
is it
connectivity there.
too late to put somebody in for tonight's?
I'm giving you those so you can put them in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm giving you those so you can put them in. I'll give you time. I'll come back and pick them up. Or we can meet each other. You can fill them out for me and I'll take them when I go. Okay.
Okay, I can fill one up real quick.
Please. That's what I'm giving you. I'm giving
And
you
get
those.
one to Chris now. As far as donations, can
Okay.
we go online and
Online,
donate?
yes, ma'am. www.
I've got you all. I've got all your info.
.mojovets.org.
I've got all your info out
Mojovets.org,
already.
okay? If you go to mojovets.org. This is for the audience.
I got it. I've got it all on social media.
www.mojovets.org, and I would be super over the top if we could just really, really rack up something, because again, on my twilight going out, I'd love to leave with the bank full.
I love it.
I'd love to leave with the bank full so that going forward, Sergeant Lopez, I'm not leaving him with a deficit. I'm leaving him with assets to work with going forward.
Exactly.
And obviously we're in the background, like, some of the things we take from the front, but other things like that drop to the back, let him move forward. So he will be the out front person, but he's got my backup, which Mrs. Mayfield and I did not have that.
When they started.
When we started, all we've had is each other and my dog. Okay. And that's it. So if I would have shot somebody in the toe to be Wreaths Across America, to have that many people
Yes.
committed to you. Man, can you imagine what I could do with people you got? Woo, let's work together.
I will get you
Oh.
those people.
There you
I
go.
assure you.
Let's work together.
Yes, sir.
I'm retiring, but I'm not dead.
Yeah.
So, gonna keep breathing, keep working.
My dad got me so involved in a lot of the military organizations while he was still alive, and I still try to do what I can.
Well, I'm his spirit. I'm back. He's back.
He's back. I told Major Capers
Yeah.
that since my daddy was passed on, I wanted him to be my
New day.
my new daddy. I just so admire that man.
Outstanding. And see, that's the thing about it for me is that we are here talking and we are rejuvenating the life in that particular movement because folks are so quick to turn their heads around and forget. They're so quick to just leave it alone and now somebody else can do it and this, that, and the other. Okay. Got them.
There's two for you. Yeah, there you
All right.
go.
These will be included in the ceremony and the ceremony of ashes. Love it.
Thank you. And I'll be sure to go on your website and
And do
make
it.
a donation. It would be an honor to do that. So
And it's an honor to have it done too as well. Brother,
Sir, thank you. A privilege.
domo arigato
Pleasure.
gozaimashita, as they say in Japan, or tohin arigato gozaimashita.
Yeah, I understood every word of that.
Yeah, I know you
And-
did.
The only thing I know is domo arigato.
Yeah,
Tohin-
tohin arigato is higher.
Okay.
It's a higher.
I know
compliment.
bonjour. That's about it.
How about voulez-vous nager avec moi?
Hmm?
Voulez-vous nager avec moi?
Oh, wait a minute now. You're getting ready to get
I
stopped.
see.
Yeah, Dad used to talk a lot about.
Would you want to go swimming with me?
I
Hey, you want to go swimming with me?
I know.
Your mind's in the gutter. Good God, you old
I
dude.
know what I'm saying.
You can come to Miami and go diving with me.
Yeah,
There you go.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Show's over. Let's go.
Okay, see you later.
This is it. This is it.
You come to
I'm in my 60th year.
Huh?
60th year of diving.
I remember I went to your store down there with Sergeant Major one time. We talked about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a blast.
Oh, he's a bubblehead. See, I'm not doing it.
Why not?
Huh?
What?
He's afraid of the water.
Will you jump out of an
I'm
airplane?
afraid. I'm
Will
not
you- Will you jump out of a helicopter?
Huh?
Will you jump out of a helicopter?
Yeah, we're sitting on the ground.
Did you ever jump out with a parachute?
That's my kind of jump.
No, would you? No, I'd throw somebody else out with it.
You're not one of those 1,000-foot high guys that encourage people to talk, are you?
Hey, no, Rayford. I volunteered. I got out of the Marine Corps. I stayed out of the Marine Corps for almost 10 years. And when I went back in the Marine Corps, they said, what do you want to do? You got a college education? They said, yeah, they said, go back to the infantry. Are you crazy? I'm an 03. Send me back out in the boondocks. Are you could be anything. I am anything. I'm an infantryman. Bye.
Here you go.
There you go. Let me walk. Let me do my thing.
There's nothing wrong with staying on top of the water.
Huh?
Nothing wrong with staying on top of the water.
No, ain't nothing wrong with
Look at pretty
staying.
things
Ain't
down
nothing wrong with
there.
staying. Nothing wrong with staying.
Down in Miami, there's another thing down there called these langostas.
Langostas.
I love those
Gentlemen,
things.
gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with staying out of it either.
And Gitmo, I was snorkeling. Gitmo was there for something else, and we went snorkeling. I got a 7-pounder.
Right off the reef right there?
No, in the bay.
In the bay?
I had no clue who was
Right.
there. Well, guess who ate really good that night?
You did.
Oh, well, there were several of us there together. We were there for, it was a stopping off point going down to another country.
What do you like to do?
Listen to all of you.
Okay, but I'm saying, what is your hobby?
My
She wants to
hobby.
be a weather girl.
Yeah.
I have so many hobbies.
Okay.
I just keep my life wide open.
I don't blame you.
I like to volunteer, of course. But my personal hobbies are like I like to follow weather, and I like to do this, talk radio, and
She defends the post office a lot in spite of
I'm
what the
retired from
post
the
office is.
post office.
there we go. There you go. That's what I'm
But
saying.
my former husband and I also were in a law enforcement type business at one time. In fact, we were the original owners of Sportsman's Lodge. So you've probably
Oh.
been up there shooting,
Mhm.
So I've done a little bit of everything.
Everything.
There's so much. I could probably write a book.
Mhm.
Did you see my cane over there?
So,
Oh, that's a nice cane.
Would you pick that cane up?
Oh my goodness.
And would you hold it with the left hand, hold the barrel in the left hand,
He wants you to
the long barrel,
Mhm.
and then take the lefty loosey, righty tighty,
Don't worry, it's
Go
not
Lucy.
loaded.
hold it and unscrew it.
Don't worry, it's not loaded.
Oh, that is nice.
Mhm. Oh yeah. See, I'm a knife guy.
I know you are. That's why I handed it over to you.
Where'd you get that at?
Oh, there was a store around town one time was selling. It's a novelty thing. That's all it is. Of course. If I can,
Yeah, this is well, you know what this reminds me of, right? Bat Masterson.
Yeah.
Yep, I know.
You need to bring those classics back. TV went out this morning when Cheyenne was on, and
The Bounty Hunter.
yeah,
Oh.
I'm
As long as I
old
can watch
style.
my weather
I love
and
the old.
trials.
Chris, you don't have no hobbies yourself?
Well, I know you
Right now,
guys.
my hobby is Race Across America.
That's his
That's
passion
it.
too.
That is it.
I know you folks got a whole bunch going. And I know I got a whole bunch to do. So I'm gonna run out of here. I got to get ready and get this thing.
Yeah, we got
together.
to talk some
Yeah.
stupid politics right now because politics is full of stupid.
Yeah, really.
I'm out.
I will say, sir.
After that, I'm gonna go puke and and take care of business.
I'm a tough topic. Oh God.
Well, this is from Mrs. Mayfield. I know she's been sitting over there videotaping the whole time. God bless you. But I have sent you today's links for Facebook and YouTube for the entire show. So
You can watch it.
you'll have
anytime
that
you
as
want.
backup.
Super.
Yes.
Thank you.
What's
All
the
right.
go?
All right. You don't mind if I share it, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. Please do.
All right. All
The more
right.
the
All
merrier.
right. I'll put it out and let folks out there see what we're
Unless
talking
there was
about.
something I said that was
But
stupid.
but in closing for myself, obviously the patriotic tribute and ceremony of the ashes that Mojo is doing is our ongoing tribute. But at the same time, that's dealing with respecting our folks who have fallen and as well. But at the same time, we've also transitioned to conversation and talking about those folks who are still struggling and fighting, and we're fighting for their recognition and proper as well. And I'm on board as well with the thing, with the quest for the Major's recognition for his Medal of Honor.
Let's get that
I don't
done.
know what I can do any more than I'm doing, except to make it come back up instead of going to sleep. And that's what you're doing, and you're doing Wreaths Across America.
Sure.
And we'll talk about how to redouble that if you want to work with me.
I will work with you.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be an honor.
Same here. I'm down in Florida, Miami, so work with us,
You ain't
Robert.
you're not
Oh, yeah.
going anywhere. We got
Oh,
he's famous.
wherever he goes, I go.
he's
so.
got it. He's got it covered. Okay. You're out of the Corps now, right?
Yeah, I'm out of the Marine Corps.
So I can get someone if I decide to slide on down there to Miami.
Slide on down there and do your thing.
I've done a lot of diving up at Pompano Beach on the 3 reefs there.
Okay.
When I was a kid, because that was the closest place I could find to find some real good diving. And then went on down to the Keys, and I ate well when I was there, and it was what I caught.
You come to Miami, you can stay at my place, or my wife's the GM for a famous hotel down there.
Oh,
We
really?
could put you out. Yeah, the Muni Hotel. I don't know if you remember the 80s, but that was one of the most biggest.
Do I remember the
drug-
80s? I know. I was going to say.
The Muni Hotel was known for all
What I
the
used to
drug
do for a
cartels
living,
coming
doesn't
there.
He doesn't know.
All the drug cartels.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Another drug cartel used to stay at that hotel and meet.
That's where you could they had to take the dogs in to sniff the money from time to time. Seriously.
True,
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke.
Because our DEA would walk in and say, okay, we know what's going on here.
There's snorting going on here.
So she's the GM for that hotel and a couple other hotels. And we're not in the Key Largos if you want to go down to Key Largo.
Well, I love Key Largo.
So just let me know.
There's a song.
Yeah, Key Largo.
Yeah, there is a
Oh,
song.
God, yes. Yeah,
Yes.
I was in the Keys. I was at Pompano first, and there were no high rises on Pompano. You could see from I was at the 14th Street Causeway area,
Yes.
and then you can, because I had a boat, and we got a motel there for $7 a night on the water, which was about 3 blocks from the water, but there was nothing between us and the water. That's how long ago it was. And down in the Keys, Marathon, oh Lord of mercy, it was like Sneed's Ferry was 30 years ago. Here, nothing.
Nah.
They're just people were fishing and diving, and if you didn't dive or fish, you better not go there.
Well, what I will do, I'll get it back to you, Rayford, and I'll get it to you as well. My contact, especially dealing with the Major Capers case,
Yes, sir.
our situation here, I worked through his public relations person, Lieutenant Colonel retired Gerfine. Okay, He was one of my first lieutenants when I came over here, and I'm proud to see that he's gone on to do what he's doing, working with someone in this way.
Mhm.
He is the front person for Major Caper's drive for his Medal of Honor.
Yes,
So I'll give you his contact information.
That'd be
so
good.
you can.
We'll get
okay.
that too.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
So
you
you'll
so
have
much.
directly with the person who's doing that kind of paperwork. Now his caregiver, that's a different situation. So that's personal. I know I don't get into the caregiver business, and especially as a social worker, I know you stay on this side of the caregiver.
Yeah, she's a lovely
Stay on
woman.
that.
Absolutely.
That's personal. That's in his personal life now. But for the business element outside, Lieutenant Colonel Gerfine is a person. I'll give you that contact so you can be directly in contact with him to deal with the public relations aspect, deal with the Major's drive for his Medal of Honor. And would it not be a heck of a coup for Jacksonville, North Carolina, the home of Camp Lejeune, to
Thank
do
you.
something
Yep.
better, to do something to get this thing done? I mean, we're here.
Yes.
We're here, and this. I don't know how to talk about it. I really don't know what to say. Because I'm an individual. If I were in the position to do it, I'd make it happen myself.
That's right.
Just reading it, I'm just.
Exactly.
This is Mayfield pulled this. Not realize that Major Caper's one age had so much to do with the recruitment factor, especially during the war. I mean, and then for someone to turn around and go prejudice about that's stupid.
He was the first black man that was used on the recruiting poster.
Yes.
What an honor.
What an honor, and what a dishonor.
Well, what he did to get there, though.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
talking about.
What he did to
No,
get
he
there.
wasn't like he was
13
kissing up to
times.
anybody. He earned it, and to be able to exploit that, to utilize it to the extent that recruitment was done, including this young fellow, okay, including him seeing this kind of stuff and stuff inspired him to come along, and then for us to have this struggle to deal with the Medal of Honor
It's
for everything that was done makes no sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, but again,
agree.
a lot of stuff doesn't.
Sir, you be safe.
Going to do it.
And if you have issues that you need to fix, call me.
Yeah, we love creating stuff.
And if all else fails, you see that little pickaxe handle over there? You know what that is? You know whose name is autographing that thing? A guy named Buford Pusser.
Buford T.
Beautiful.
He gave it to. It was given to our former police chief, our now retired police chief, Mike Canera, who gave it to me.
Oh, whack-a-mole.
This year.
I hear you.
Clean house.
That's what I'm talking about, baby boy.
Clean house.
That's what I'm talking about, baby boy.
All right.
Force it up.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you for having us again.
Thank you, Bert. I
Thank
can call
you.
you Bert now,
Yeah, you
right?
can call me Bert.
Thank you.
You just
Thank
ended
you,
our
Chris.
week in a special
Oh, what a
way.
great, what a great Friday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Now I get these luminaries in, and so we honor, remember your fallen
Thank
as
you.
well. This is on me. No,
Chris,
and
we
like I
gotta
said, you can go to the website and make a
We'll
contribution.
take care of that.
Done.
Yeah, we got
Yes,
that.
thank you, sir. I'm glad to know about this. I didn't, and I've shared it. So, and we'll be sure to share it in advance next year, so plenty of people can get in there and get out there. So,
All right.
You got it.
And there's your
Yeah, we'll say.
NCO. This is your NCOIC right there.
I'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank
Thank
very
you.
much.
I put my number down there.
Thank you.
Yes.
You ready to go, little girl?
We forgot all about.
I didn't forget
Special,
about her. She kept
special one.
licking my ankle over here. She's good. Good girl. She remembers me.
She remember you. Oh, yeah, she loves you. Oh, here. Hey, love.
Hey, love.
Go say bye. Go say bye to me. There you go. There you go. Say bye to Rayford.
Yeah, my
There
girl.
you go.
There, my girl. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Thanks, bro. Don't do it.
You're always in the way.
Bert.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, my pleasure, sir. Absolute pleasure. Holy moly, this is unusual radio, right? This-
No, I'm serious. That ended my week.
Where else can you do this?
That
besides
ended
right
my
here?
week on this show. So special.
Where else can
So
where
special.
else can you go to get this, huh?
I know. And you know, And as you are aware, and as you are yourself, when it comes to veterans,
Oh, yeah.
we have such a soft spot in our heart.
Yeah, I'm sometimes I'm told I got a soft head, but that's probably true too. But
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's such a pleasure. I haven't seen Sergeant Mayfield, Sergeant Major.
Major,
I know.
it's Sergeant Major, sir.
Yes.
Mayfield,
Trying to get that out.
sir, as you were, sir.
Yeah, as you were. Fantastic individual. And he's right. We have so many heroes that live in our community.
They're all heroes.
He brought up Major Capers.
And we've got them to the left of us, to the right of us. We got heroes everywhere around here, and I am so happy to be part of this community.
Oh, you know
I
it.
returned to this community for
You know
a number of
it.
reasons.
I'd like to try to get out there tonight and take some pictures. That would be
Yeah, let's
awesome.
see.
I'm gonna have to charge
do
up my
not know
camera.
of anything that I've got to do tonight. I cannot think of anything that I've got to do that would be more important. So
Maybe we can. I'm gonna charge up my camera when I get home and
camera's
get it ready.
charged.
Yeah. Well, mine's
and this
not.
mine does not make phone calls either.
No, mine's a digital. Mine's a like not as fancy as yours, but mine's a nice camera. I just very seldom
I'm gonna
use
bring
it.
out all my Hasselblads and my other Nikons one day. That shoot big
My
film and stuff.
goodness, let's just do weather.
Offshore, out to 20 nautical miles today. Winds out of the west 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, 5 seconds apart. I should have asked Sergeant Major if he knew what a knot was. The knot as in speed. Could prove a bit challenging for small boats out there. Sounds in rivers of moderate chop. Saturday, tomorrow, southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 with gusts of 25 in the afternoon, seas 3 to 4. Sounds in rivers of moderate chop, increasing to choppy in the afternoon. Sunday, southwesterly winds 10 to 15, increasing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. 3 to 4 footers on Sunday. 6 seconds apart. It's getting kind of doable, but still be really, really, really careful. Sounds in rivers of moderate chop, going to increase to choppy in the afternoon.
And today we have scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Partly sunny with a high near 86. Northwest wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 70. Saturday afternoon showers and thunderstorms are likely. Mostly sunny with a high near 92 with heat index values as high as 101.
Yes.
Sunday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny with a high near 91.
I'm probably the only one that goes, yes, heat index 102. Love it.
Well, it makes you glisten or sweat and gets out all the old stuff that's in your body, right?
Yeah.
As many years as I delivered mail, and it was 95-degree days, let's just say 95, and you're inside a vehicle and you can run that air all you want, and you're not going to feel anything but still air hitting your face. And the heat index is above 105. I learned to hate those
May
days.
I ask you a question or seven?
Yes.
Now, be very honest. Let's go back
Yes.
to your days when you were, 15 to 25.
Right?
Did you have a bikini?
Yes, I did.
Did you go to the beach and lie on the sun?
No, mostly surfed and was in the water most of the time.
But you were there at the beach. And
I was
the water,
cooler at the
you
beach.
had no problems with 105-degree temperatures. And heat
We were
index.
in the water.
Uh-huh.
We were in the water.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we went every day. And all those other days I was laying in front of the air conditioner.
But you were out there. You never laid down in the sand at the beach to get a suntan?
Oh, I've done that before, but we've all done that. But I'm just saying that after the many, many years of
You didn't complain about how hot it was. I bet you complained about when it was chilly, below 75.
no, I loved it when it was cold. I really did. I loved delivering mail when it was raining or it
I
was
didn't
cold.
say raining. I said
Well, I
on the
threw
beach.
raining in there
On the beach.
on the beach.
You didn't want it below what, 85, 90?
No, I was never one that was particular about beach weather. As long as it was nice and not raining or storming. We grew up,
Uh-huh.
we kids grew up going to Scotch Bonnet. Remember Scotch
Oh,
Bonnet,
yeah.
Chris? That was the place
Scotch
to
bonnet.
Mhm.
go. Till Bertha and Fran
Yeah,
took it
When I
out.
went to fishing piers, I went fishing.
Yeah.
We always went there because they had a nice restaurant, a pier there, and they had a lifeguard. Believe it or not, Rayford, they had their own lifeguard there, and they had a restaurant. We'd always go up get some
Yep.
French fries and a Coca-Cola or whatever.
I went to Paradise Pier, and they had the best French fries in the world. 'Cause I ordered And when we'd fish all night on the pier, because they had a little parking lot over there, and my cousins and I, we would pitch a tent. We weren't old enough to drive. We were driven, dumped off. We'd pitch a tent, and then we would go fishing at nighttime, clean our fish. I never Virginia mullet, what they call whiting. Clean those suckers on the pier, come back over, build a fire, and cook them with our mess kits
I'm going to go shut the
breakfast.
gate. I'll be right back.
for breakfast.
Yeah.
What a good thing. I love that.
Oh, those were the good days.
Will the Biden staff stuff crap just ever go away, do you think? He's been
No.
gone almost 6 months, and more stuff has come out about him than we heard during his 4 years in office, because everybody protected him then. What was revealed yesterday should have been expected. The blasted auto pen. The one that somehow someone used to sign off on a lot of stuff. The real stuff that's being shot through the fan are those wholesale pardons and commutations for all sorts of people, including all but one man on death row. His sentence
Yes.
was commuted. One man. You know who it was?
I believe I remember where he's.
Charleston, South Carolina, church killer.
Yeah, church killer.
The one time that Biden, the real Biden, signed a pardon, not only for stuff that we know his son Hunter did, but for stuff that he might have done or would have done through the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, his signature was apparent on that piece of paper. Compare it to the auto pen stuff, and you'll see what I mean. It looks like chicken scratch. No chance that anyone else signed it for him using the auto pen or whatever. The Justice Department is reviewing the list of people granted pardons by Biden amid new concerns about his use of an auto pen to automatically sign documents and concerns about his state of the mind and mental acuity, or lack thereof, in his final months in office. Biden used his final weeks to as commander-in-chief to grant clemency and pardon more than 1,500 souls in what his White House described as the largest single-day act of clemency by a U.S. president. Trump has directed the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to investigate whether certain individuals working for Biden conspired to deceive the public about his mental state while also exercising his presidential responsibilities by using an auto pen. Was he able to tell somebody, yes, this is what I want to get done, or did somebody other than him decide this is what he wants us to do? That is going to be the question. And if an investigation turns up the fact that, if in case it is a fact that, yes, the man was not cognitive during those last days or weeks or months, he did not know what he was doing. So therefore, he could not have told somebody what he wanted to get done. So somebody else made that choice for him. What happens if that is proven?
Well, Michael,
Will all of those commutations, will all of the pardons be nullified if that's the case? Because if he was not capable of being the president, could he even sign anything?
you bring up an interesting point because of his circle. So a lot of people are looking at Jill as the person. Me, I'm thinking Kamala.
No,
No,
he didn't trust her.
I don't think he was cognitive enough to know whether to trust her or not.
Oh, that he did know.
I
Yeah.
think you had
He never did trust her.
Pelosi, Schumer,
Yeah.
Obama.
Yes,
I think a lot of them were involved in that.
I would pick Obama over them all. He's the only one that had the experience. He's the only one that was basically in charge. Jill, I don't think she would have done it. It's too obvious. Too obvious that if she showed up in there and things happen. Not so obvious that the former president comes in to give advice and to assist. It's really ridiculous because they never do it, but it's not that unusual these days for Obama to do it during his term, during Biden's term.
I know that he mentioned, I know what I'm doing. But why not take the cognitive test? Why not take it?
I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Jeff Dunham says that to four dummies all the time. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. But do the dummies know what they're doing? No.
Well, Walter tells Jeff he don't know what he's doing.
Yes.
Achman tells him.
I kill you.
I kill you.
But it's like,
That was a good one.
really. Oof. The little explosion. I don't know. I've said for the last few months, just leave the man alone. Let him go off and wither in peace. But I'm not sure that we can do that now. Not with this AutoPen revelations, and that it's revealed now that he did not sign any of those except Hunter's. That is concerning. That's very concerning.
That one he wanted that one done.
Yes. He wanted that one done right so nobody could come back on and say something's wrong. The rest of them, he didn't think enough of them to do that. So who did? Somebody else? Somebody else's, a bunch of other people, perhaps. Who did it? Who's responsible?
I still, from a human standpoint, I really feel bad for the man.
Well, I do too. But I mean, you got to understand it. He was not capable of handling the last years of the presidency. I'm not sure about the first year. Mm-hmm. He was put in there for a reason, to keep Trump from being in there. That was all.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only reason he was there. And the only name they could come up with that might be able to get Trump people and non-committed people and other people to get enough people to support somebody to beat Trump. One way or the other.
Yeah. I'm going to change up just a little bit.
Well, that's Trump's fault.
All this war of words between Elon and Trump yesterday is like school kids watching the whole thing go down. Well, one thing I thought very interesting is Elon had posted a survey on his feed under his name exactly, and he asked, "Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle?" Now, over 5 million people, and it's still open for vote. Over 5 million people voted. What do you imagine the major response was?
Well, when you pose a question like that, you're going to get the people who support it right up front.
Well, 81% of the people said yes out of the 5 million. 19% said no. I thought that was very interesting, and I've seen it going that way. Now, I told you the state convention is this week in the Republican.
Yeah, good luck.
There has been a lot of drama on social media, and I have been seeing where I know 2 districts already where the district chair has resigned from that position and is talking about switching over to the unaffiliated party.
The Republican.
On the Republican districts. And I'm just seeing a lot of dissatisfaction. And of course, every year when there's a convention, there's always a group that doesn't like the ones that's in there now. And the ones that are in there now, it's just, there's accusations that fly back and forth. But
worse than the Baptist.
It's really been kind of rank this time. I mean, there's some stuff coming out, and I'm like, but it's just stuff. But and I'm sure that Jason Simmons will get voted back in as the state chair. So
I have no idea who that is. Don't care.
Yeah, he's called here before. You've talked to him. He's the state chairman. He took Michael Watley's place.
Michael who?
He left him
really. And
Michael Watley, who told me, not to my face, but to my ears, I'll be glad to talk to you.
Yeah, he told me the same thing when I talked to him.
Lied to me.
Well, he left it up to his his guy that does all that, and he's let me down. But yeah, I remember I went to that meeting. I voted in to vote Jason in. We went
You
somewhere.
think Watley's going to be here this time?
I don't know. He may be. I mean, he's
Well, why
from
don't you go
North
up there and see
Carolina.
him?
I'm
And
not
tell him
going.
that I think he's a liar.
God, I'm calling him.
Call him. Tell him
Yeah,
he's a liar.
one thing I do got to say, and obviously it had to do with Reese, but I talked to Congressman Murphy, one of his aides, who actually, and he got back to me.
Oh, good. That's
Not only did he call me,
first
You
time I've
talking
heard that
about
one.
Cody?
no, Raymond Celeste,
Oh yeah. I
and
know
he
who
not
you're
only
talking about.
called me and spent time with me on the phone, but we've exchanged at least half a dozen emails.
Well,
About
Cody
it.
out of Murphy's office is helping me right now to help my granddaughter get her visa, to go
Right.
through all that. Because they're telling her, you got to go to Washington, D.C. to get it. I'm like, why should you have to go to Washington, D.C.? But anyway, Cody's been remarkable and help, and he's from Murphy's office too. And
How
speaking
about
of
if you're
Murphy,
from San Francisco? How do you go to Washington, D.C. to get something like that?
there you
Good
go.
gracious.
Well, they have different offices. I think D.C. was the closest to us. But speaking of Congressman Murphy,
Next week,
Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday.
He's scheduled for Tuesday at
He's
7:30.
scheduled for Tuesday at
Uh,
7:30.
Usually I'll get the confirmation over the weekend.
Yes.
So, and then also next week, we've got retired Jacksonville Police Chief
Mike
Mike
Gennaro
Gennaro,
coming
who is
in.
he announced it on here. He's a candidate for a city
He's-
council seat.
Yes, he's not filed yet because
He's,
filing's not
he's an
open.
announced candidate.
But he has announced, and he has already opened up his campaign finance,
He's a candidate.
and he is legal. He's operational.
I
He's
would
done
not expect
everything.
him to be anything but legal.
Well, some of us make sure that he's got a great team helping
Yeah.
him,
Good.
and they're making sure that everything is right in place, and which anybody who's thinking about running for office should do the same. So
We need to get a song written. Dot them I's, cross them T's. That would be a great song.
as long as you know how to spell chairman, you're okay.
I'm thinking. Does it start with a C?
Yes.
Okay.
CHAIRMAN.
A
Just
come
one
before
eye.
I or I before A.
That's not good. That's the way to start that. We have the weekend coming up. It's going to be a great
Who do you
weekend.
have on Monday? Anybody?
Monday night yet.
No, Monday day.
Chris is going to be here all next week though with us.
Yeah. Kelly, she's Kelly's been relegated to another slot position situation.
Nana.
Yeah.
She's Nana duty next week.
Yeah. I expect we might be talking to her by
Oh, I'm
phone
sure we will.
as she's pulling her hair out.
We were texting back and forth yesterday. Did you see what Elon just said?
Do you-
Yeah. Did you see what Trump?
Do you think her grandson's going to be able to put up with her for a week?
That's his Nana.
I mean, do you think Kelly's going to be able to put up with the grandson? That's what I meant to say.
No, Kelly and I were talking yesterday. It's different when you're the grandparent, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
very different. You can get away with a lot of things.
Because you get to take them home later.
And
Give them back.
no matter what you
After
do,
you
they
ruin 'em.
think you're the best.
Yeah. After you run them, you can take them back.
I know she's got up an itinerary, Publix on Monday.
What?
Publix. Remember she took him a couple weeks ago to Publix, and
So she puts that on her Monday schedule?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I just was wondering. Okay, whatever. We will see you, or the three of us will see you next Monday morning. If
Yes,
the
we'll
creeks
be
don't
here.
rise, and I
Oh.
don't think it's going to rain that much. We got, by the way, 0.41 inches here over the 24 hours ending at midnight last night. The morning lows, Swansboro, believe it or not, was 74. I think it was 74, 76. The
Right.
live and local weather spiders are out there from the Oslo Amateur Radio Club. By the way, if you guys want to be an amateur radio operator, you want to just stop by tomorrow. We have a meeting at 9:00 tomorrow morning at the Golden Corral. Just ask where the don't ask where the hams are. They
Yeah,
might
all
get
right.
confused. Ask where the Amateur
Dead
Radio
pig.
Club is meeting. But all of us will eat ham because we are all hams. But anyway, there's a business meeting tomorrow beginning at 9:00. Visitors are welcome. If you want to come early enough to have breakfast, virtually all of us do. We get there around 8:00. We want to make sure that Billy Sewell doesn't run out of food, especially ham and grits. He's
And
good.
if you do go, at least you'll have a place to sit.
Yeah. So anyway, we got some big plans for a couple of weeks from now. 3 weeks from tomorrow is Amateur Radio Field Day. You guys have got invites
Yes, we do.
I'm coming.
to show up at some point in time to just say hi, and we'll talk more about that too. So anyway, if you want to see what ham radio is all about, you can be there. But if you just want to be considering it, just want to talk about it, want to listen to a bunch of hams lie, talk about it's kind of like fishing. We talk about things from yesteryear. We talk about new things. We talk about stuff that we're doing today that is so far advanced, way beyond what's actually happening in the real world. You might want to drop in.
Sure wish
Say
I
hi.
had one in the mountains last year.
Yeah, and you would have been able to be in contact.
That's right.
But a bunch of ham radio guys did move up there for a
Yes.
period of time to set up shop, to operate, to send information back and forth, especially for the people up there.
Right.
The
Yes.
emergency services folks will get communications established sooner or later.
I'm getting a
But that doesn't
Starlink.
mean that the individuals up there can reach out to their people back home, friends, relatives, and everywhere to let them know that they're alive. All
I'm
right,
getting a Starlink.
you can do that, and it might work, and it might not work. Remember who's
It'll
in charge
work.
of that?
Elon. Look, the signal comes from many miles up.
We will see you Monday morning. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for the
Pleasure.
cookies.
You're welcome. Enjoy
Always
them.
fun.
Always
Enjoy
fun.
them. Enjoy them.
You're live and local, real talk, where we're always awake,
Weekend.
never woke, and Monday is right around the corner. Have a great and safe weekend. Please don't do stupid stuff. Bye.
Bye.